welcome back to another Baddy Rankings. This is Division 1 Baddy Rankings for Week 5. With 1 week in the books, this list is going to be volatile compared to last week. We got some ups, we got some downs, we got some changes, but I have a whole additional set of criteria that I'm adding to last week's to make sure that this is the right order. And this week, we do have a special guest as well. We have ranked number 6, Blaze, coming in to tell me how I'm wrong, and I will tell him how he is 100% factually incorrect. Yeah, welcome, Blaze. Welcome, Blaze. This week, not a lot of changes up at the top, but we do have one little major move. Number 1, it's Alpha Mew. You saw him last week. The fact that Zed took stocks, that actually helped Zed move up. To clarify on what I am changing, what the additional considerations are as follows. I am looking at the opponent's win-loss records in Week 1, the playoff record last season, and just to make sure things are a little cleared up, I'm looking at the eye test and personal testament from these players themselves. In the background, we have some lovely PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 updating music. Yeah, I'm actually going to keep that for our enjoyment. But my first switch, my first change in place, we have Candy Jack. I'm putting him one spot over KK. And here's why. This is a tiny bit anecdotal because I have not played against KK yet. And the only games I've seen of him have been in the Chai Invitational and against my number 15th ranked, and I'll get to that, Had Reaver. I moved KK down because he looked against someone who's very sus right now. Game 2, when he was playing against his Diddy, he looked way too close for comfort. And he did get 3-stocked at the Chai Invitational. KK, you are the 2-time champion. Show us why you could be the 3-time champion. Right now, I think Candy Jack looks a little bit better on paper. He looks a bit better on the eye test. And he definitely handled Ooga Booga really well last week. So I got Candy at 2, KK at 3. Returning again, I have Duds at 4, Vinyl Joe at 5. This top 5 really isn't that surprising. It's probably going to be that way for a while. These players have been consistent throughout numerous seasons, and although I'm only taking prior season and this season into effect, these are top 5 for a reason. However, a player that has always believed in himself to be a top 8 player, a player that I am perhaps the biggest stan of, that my household is the biggest stan of, I have Blaze at 6. Here's why. Blaze is among the top 8 right now of 1-0 players. However, I made a bet with Joe that there would be 5 3-stocks last week. I thought there was going to be some dumpstrings. There was only 1 3-stock last week. I'll let you guess if you don't remember all the video. But it was not from our top 5. Our biggest dumpstring was Blaze over Mulletzor, 3-stocking him against the Sephiroth. And it was gross. He handled his business, and Sephiroth last season was a top 8 player in the playoffs. And for that reason, looking great on paper, looking great against the opponents he plays against. Let's not forget this man went with the highest win rate of opponents in D2 Swiss. Came in, and he's still undefeated. This man has 4 wins this season, and they've all looked like very clean wins. Moving on to another player who's been bumped up, we have Chai, now at 7th. Did Chai cheese the hell out of Cax with Almar's worst matchup? Yeah, he did. It looked a little bit ugly in Game 2 because Cax was actually bothering to hold shield, and Chai did not get to get away with as much as normal. But this is a character that he has practiced. It's a character that is, if you would ask him in person, he'd say his bondified secondary compared to his main, which is Cloud. And this player is moving up 3 spots today. Another big mover and another change in top 8, we have Lars. Why do we doubt this guy? Why is Lars ever doubted? What has he ever done to make us think that he's not this good? He made it into the playoffs all seasons that he's been here. His Bowser is a heavy, which is very volatile in a positive way online. He plays Bowser very well, very fast. A very interesting fact about Lars' play. He plays a very fast Bowser. He's not a, he is the fastest heavy on the ground, and he makes you well known. He makes sure that you know that he is going to get in your face, and Lars is going to put the sauce on you. And for that, I have Lars clutching out number 8. Number 9, I have Mulletzor. This is another player who went to top 8. However, he's dropped down a little bit for the one particular reason. Blaze Dumpster. Mulletzor is good. I have played against Mulletzor hundreds of times. He made top 8 last year in the playoffs. He tied for 7th with me. Mulletzor, I know you can bring it back. You're 1-1 right now. Let's see it. At number 10, and I gotta remind you folks at home, one of the things I always keep in mind for ranking these baddie rankings is not how I think they overall are as a player. I rank them based on who do I think is the best player in that order going into next week. If we were to look historically, I would look at Mad Cow being a probably a top 5 player. Pretty easily. However, and when I talk about eye test and anecdotal evidence, there is one point that comes to mind, and there's one person that really affects this, and this is Mad Cow. Mad Cow every season starts off slow. Of all the people to be set back by starting the season 3 weeks into it, when people have already played, that the man is not ready. He is not fully cooked yet. He's 1-1 right now. I have a feeling he can, if anyone's going to go far from where they are right now, it could be Mad Cow. But right now, he does not look very good. Mad Cow, I believe in you. I bet a lot of baddie coin on you. Make me proud. Stop being bad. I have Mad Cow at 10th. A player whom is the only player on my list that has a worse record than the people behind him, but is ranked higher. Because although week 1 can be volatile, you still have to think of some things in perspective. And if you were to ask most people who would be the next ranked person on this list, it'd have to be Cax. Cax, I have him at 11th. He had a rough run yesterday with getting absolutely cheesed on WarioWare by Zed, which, for Zed's credit, is one of the very few times that Wario worked in someone's counter pick advantage. And he got Olimar's worst matchup to start the night. And speaking to him afterwards, he was pretty tilted. Fair to say, very tilted. So Cax, I see, of all the players who are 0-2 right now, he's the only player I can see maybe getting out of the playoffs. He's also the only one I can see actually winning more than one game, but we'll get to that. At 12th, we have Ooga Booga, the meme lord himself. Ooga, he is now using Steve. Steve is he's the most popular DLC right now in terms of characters that are being frequently played, that have been out that have not been around since this season. Normally, I usually try to think, every season I usually think to myself, hey, new DLC, one of them's going to be really popular. I thought Byleth was going to be the case because a ton of us were playing Three Houses. Wasn't the case. I thought that Sephiroth would have been because, haha, funny Weeb Lord character. Not the case. But Steve is the man. And Steve is one of the few characters where if you have no idea how to play against Steve, you are having a very bad day. And Ooga Booga takes advantage of that thoroughly. I give him credit, he's 1-1. I still think he's not as good as Cax. I would still take Cax on paper to beat him. But Ooga Booga, using that Steve, looking a lot better than in prior seasons where he would make the playoffs, but just fall short usually in that first week. Ooga Booga, you're looking good. Keep it up. Another mover and shaker moving up 3 spots. I had him dead to rights. I sung the songs and praises. I was the Bard of Zed, coming out of Division 2 with a miracle. And I still put him at 16th place last week. I still thought he was garbage. However, he took a game, probably tied with Lars as our biggest upset of the night. Zed took down Cax, cheesed him with a fantastic side B. I call it cheese, but cheese is just part of the game. I don't mean it derogatory. Zed clutched out a victory. Zed, I have you at 13th. The bottom three, these players are all skilled. Let it be known, if you're in Division 1, you're doing fine. You're a good player. These three players, though, are all 0-2. Salvo is the one person I am surprised to be 0-2. I thought, especially going in against Mad Cow, that he would be fine. I thought heavies would be no problem at all, because if you can get heavies on their shields, heavies trying to attack your shields, that's a free Luigi up B. However, Mad Cow did play it smart enough to camp out Salvo a bunch. Salvo did switch to Lucas, however, it was just a little too late. Salvo takes an 0-2 entrance into week 2. I think he has a chance. He's going against a difficult opponent, but I think Salvo right now, you're at 14th. At 15th. And debatably, this player is either top 10 or the worst player in Division 1 to the point where they shouldn't be here. That player is Head Reaver. If you look at the graphic I've provided, I have nice little icons that represent everyone's main, except Head Reaver. I don't even know anymore. I put IDK LOL because I really just do not know. Head Reaver, you can either be top 10 or you can be hot dookie poo poo. The choice is yours. You swapped off a Zelda, which all of Twitch chat's mind was blown when you won pretty handily with Zelda and still swapped. Anecdotally, I know Reaver does this for one reason, and I respect it a lot, and that he just wants to have fun. If he wants to body people, we have the Rivals of Aether tournament coming up soon, and he's never lost the Rivals of Aether Baddy League side event. He's never lost it. But Reaver, the choice is yours. If you want to go higher, pick a character. If you want to keep playing in the Division 1, pick another character. You're on death's door. You're my doubles partner. I have to have some sort of faith in you. But right now, I'm going to send you a DM on a book that you need to read, audiobook you need to listen to. I'd recommend it to everyone. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. We'll see how you think, how your mindset goes into it. But if you're here to have fun, that is no problem at all. You keep on picking random characters. Hell, just pick random next week. I'd love to see it. Lastly, I have at 16th, AJS0. I had high hopes for this man. I thought he would have done pretty well. I had him as a potential sleeper to beat Albino Joe. I had him as a likely favorite to beat Ooga Booga. Neither happened. AJS0, you are an anomaly to me, and you remind me a lot of myself. You look fantastic in friendlies, and then sometimes it just does not show up on paper. I'm at least glad that you made the equivalent of last season's playoffs this season. You're showing improvement, and that's fantastic. And now that you anecdotally you're having a little bit of location and career changes, probably you'll have more time to get better at this game. And I can't wait to see you in future seasons. But I definitely have you pegged as someone who's going to get eliminated next week. I have you at 16th. That has been this has been Chai's Baddy Rankings going into week 5. Coming up soon, we have Blaze to tell me how I'm wrong, and we're going to talk this out. We're going to spill some tea. Coming up next. Coming in to be the first to tell me that I'm wrong, an invitation that I give to everyone when these rankings come out. I have the number 6 best player in the league, the Incineroar Firebrand himself. I have Blaze. Blaze, what's up?
What's going on? What's going on? First of all, I'd just like to say wholesome list, Chai. Wholesome list. I get where you're coming from. You have shared with me that we only have 4 people that we have the same ranking for. So the other 11 are differences. So we have different opinions on a lot. So I look forward to discussing them. It sounds like your list was based off of their current record in season 5, how their gameplay on stream, as well as past history. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, you got that about right.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty close. All right. So I based my rankings on the season 5 record. And then I went back to look at the season 4 record as well as their playoff record. Just to sort of try to use as many numbers as possible. I think gameplay is very important, so I'll try to comment on that as I move down the list. But let's just go ahead and get into it. Starting at number 1, Alpha Mu. I'm basically just drinking the Baddy Kool-Aid with everyone else when they say, this guy's got the fundamentals. His combo game is really strong. His Greninja is terrifying, and he switched to Steve, which terrifies some people even more, just because Steve's that new character that people aren't exactly used to yet. So we look forward to. I look forward to watching more Alpha Mu gameplay moving forward. Yeah, the game against Zed was very convincing. Moving down to the first difference in opinion, KK at number 2. Watching the playoffs for season 4, KK looks pretty dominant over Candy Jack. His first game in season 5 against Reaver was, I haven't really seen him use Mii Gunner before, so that was definitely a new experience. In game 2, when we saw the Diddy DK matchup, Reaver had said in the past that Diddy is dead to him after 2 SDs during 1 week on stream. But I think Diddy came back pretty convincing that, he's still a very good character for Reaver. And I think it might even brought KK to last stock or close to it.
Yeah, put him the last stock, and
took
Reaver
him the
actually
last
had
stock.
the percent advantage for a chunk of that.
Yeah. Just got giant punched, so happens to the best of us.
You're not concerned at all about that match?
No. I think that just showed Diddy's. I think that just showed the strengths of Diddy and what he could do, and when he's played well. I think KK just took advantage of the small openings that DK has, and KK's got a strong neutral game, so I think that's what begot him the win against Reaver, and I think he can do that against the other D1 players convincingly. So let's move down to number 3 ranked Candy, and he switched to week 1. He switched to Young Link against his opponent Ooga Booga, whereas he's another one that is still learning the Enderman matchup, and I think it's growing with time. I didn't use the Chai Invitational for my ranking list, but I don't think he got a stock against Alpha Mu when they matched up. I think it was, I know Moltor took the last stock, but I think with time he will get adjusted to that matchup, and I think he'll get adjusted, and he's got a lot of experience against other D1 players, Duds, Chai, Cax. He's played Molitor. He's played them multiple times, so he feels very confident, which means you're pretty comfortable betting on him. So I think that's what puts him at number 3. Number 4, Duds. This is one of my baddie favorites to bet on. Duds always has strong gameplay. He's got a large roster of characters to pull from when he's looking for a win. The Mewtwo, the Plant, the Doctor, Ridley, Wii Fit Trainer, Pokemon Trainer. The list goes on and on. So I'm comfortable putting Duds at 4th. I only put him under Candy because season 4 playoffs, he did not get that final W. It might have been game 5 when they were playing on Yggdrasil. But I eagerly await Duds to show why he could be a top 3 D1 player. Number 4, which top 3, right? Yeah. At number 5, which could be considered a hot take. That is your co-caster Chai, Albino Joe. And here's where I really want to highlight the numbers because it is very, very interesting. I want to start at season 4. In the group stage, Albino Joe's record was 1-5. Like similar to Mad Cow, he is a slow starter. When the season starts, he's not one who's diving into the training. He's not one diving into quick play. He just cracks open a brew, casts his games, and then when you tell him he's up, I'm up, okay. So that's his take into Smash. In the playoffs, as you've heard Chai say repetitively, he is a consistent top 8 player. Now, one thing about that statistic is there is 7 other people with that. Well, maybe not 7. There's usually 5 to 6 other people in Baddy that can say they're consistent top 8 players. So it's not that special, but it is, special for the other 16 people that didn't make it in. So the playoff record is 3-2 for Albino Joe. His overall record is 5-7 when you compare season 4 and season 5. And he started season 5 with a 1-0, beating the commissioner 1-0, which was neck and neck. And he said that he was sweating at the end of that. So I've got him at 5th, mainly because his past history is so strong, but the glaring 1-5 of group stage record is, that does put it in a place of doubt. It does plant the seeds of doubt for me. Number 6, I have Chai. Numbers look good on paper. Started 1-0, came up with a very solid game plan against Cax with the Bayonetta Olimar matchup. During the group stage last season, he went 4-2. One of those losses being losing to a Hero Ditto, I believe. Playoff record also went 2-2, losing to Duds and Albino Joe, your castmate.
Yep.
I think so. I think that's right. So that puts you overall at 7-4. A strong record for someone who could be considered top 5, could be considered top 8. I know you know yourself. You know yourself better than I do. So when you say, sometimes you make poor decisions when you switch characters, I have no choice but to believe you. But I've got you on my list as number 6.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick there, Blaze.
Go ahead.
This is one of my most adamant, and it's biased because it's me.
Yeah, of
It is
course.
my most adamant stances. How do you, because I think looking at this season has more weight right now than looking at last season. We don't have a lot of games.
Absolutely.
We don't have a lot of games.
Absolutely.
That's a problem. But how can you tell me you beat someone who plays as well as me last season and you were the most dominant player last week? You still see yourself ranked below me.
So let's use one of your factors that you used when you came up with your list, right? The eye test. When
you passed glaringly.
Okay, fine. When you played Cax, you also have to consider how you helped Cax test his internet prior to season 5, right? Cax came to you when warming up for Baddy, which means you get to use all of this information to come up with the solution of, I can use Bayonetta, a character that I'm already practicing, for a hard counter in this match coming up. So just the training and the preparedness that you show puts you at number 6. Whereas the person under you, Mad Cow, at number 7, usually is not doing any preparation for Baddy. He is 1-1 right now with a big upset he took to Lars. And there's that preparation is not visible in his gameplay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I'm going with. But Mad Cow's numbers look great. Season 4 group stage record 3-3, playoff record 4-2, overall record 8-6. But like you said, we do have to look at season 5's performance. he cannot take too many upset losses moving forward because D1 is stacked, and he had you could, I guess, when you look at the rankings, it's not quite an upset when he lost to Albino Joe, that round 1 of the Chai Invitational, but if that happens again, now his back is against the wall, and he'd be at 1-2 if he comes up against Albino Joe moving forward. But I don't think that's the case because he has to play Mullitsor next Wednesday.
Here's again my adamant stance of, I see, maybe you and I have the same problem. Maybe we don't believe in ourselves as much as other people believe in us. But Mad Cow, not only is he not prepared, and again, we both understand that you can see literally if you charted it on a graph, the more weeks played, the better he plays.
Absolutely.
Going into week 2, he's playing against a top 8 player. You even said it yourself. Mullitsor got upset by Lars.
Mad Cow got upset
you upset.
by Lars.
No, you upset Mullitsor. You beat Mullitsor. It wasn't even
upset.
I
upset. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
sure,
but we have
sure.
Mullitsor versus Mad Cow. Mullitsor is not. He's no slouch. He's 1-1, but he's no slouch. He's the only person with a 1-run record that placed top 8 last season. Well, that's a lie because Mad Cow also did. But I think Mullitsor. I know Mullitsor plays all the time. I know he's more prepared than Mad Cow right now. And at what point do you have to worry if you go into next week with a record of 1-2?
You should already be worried. If you go 1-2, the minute you go 1-2, you should be sweating because you're in D1, and this is basically weeded out. Well, almost. It's almost weeded out all of the D1 frauds, because we have two D2 members. No. Okay. Looking at season 5's D2 list, there is 8 of us in here, right? And I would say, in my personal opinion, out of the 8 that could be considered D1 for season 6, God willing, would be me, Cax, Reaver, AJS. I would put those 4 back into D1 moving forward. But the odds, you don't want to hope for those odds. If you are 1-2, I sure hope I get put against a D2 player so that my chances of winning are better. Just because that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. And we've already got 1 upset. We already got 2 upsets with me beating Mullitsor and Lars beating Mad Cow. So there's no guarantee you're going to be playing someone that is lacking in fundamentals if you're 1-2. Okay, so where did I leave off? I gave Mad Cow's record.
Yep, gave Mad Cow's record. You put him at 7th. I think we're moving on to our biggest contentious debate right now that still continues. Who do you have at 8?
Right. I have yours truly at 8. I have the Incineroar player Blaze at 8. He is 4-0 right now, a season 4 record of 9-1, a playoff record of 1-2, which the 4-0 and the 9-1 really engross his numbers to give him an overall record of 14-3. And I was like, okay, well, if you look at the 9-1, you can look at the top 5 of Baddy and say they would have also won those 9 games. So I felt like I should probably take away those 9 to put me at 5-3, which makes a little bit more sense since I don't have a lot of D1 experience. But just looking at this season, right? Let's look at this season and the eye test or the game, whatever you want to call it. I had a lot of nerves week 1 going against Tuna Sub, which resulted in maybe 1 or 2 big SDs. I did win it 2-0, which was convincing, but the people that bet against me definitely had doubts. They were definitely saying, I don't know about this Incineroar. So I took that to heart and tried to sharpen it up. My game against Mullitsor was convincing. I was upset at myself that I did not give myself more Incineroar Sephiroth matchup experience. But thankfully I learned on the fly and just sort of played to my played to what I'm used to, which got me that W 2-1 against Molotov. I hope I can do that again. But coming up, I've got to play KK, which is going to be very difficult. So we'll see how far I can make it with that. In terms of should I be at 6th? Should I be in the top 8? Should I be in the top 10? My main thing is I am not comfortable ranking myself above players I haven't beaten in bracket yet. So I haven't played Chai. I played Chai once in last season's playoffs and lost 0-3. And I played Mad Cow in last season's playoffs and lost 2-1. So until I get that redemption match, I'm not comfortable putting myself above them. Now, in terms of eye test, in terms of on-stream gameplay, it looks good. It does look good. I was on the winning end of an upset. Mad Cow was at the losing end of an upset. You could say in someone's ranking list, we could flip spots and I could be 7th and he could be 8th. But for my personal list, my bias, I would put myself at 8th and Mad Cow at 7th.
I got a couple questions. One statement, one
Go ahead.
question. Last season's playoffs, your first playoffs, you had some very unfortunate bracket luck. You got to choose because you were the first seed out of D2. You chose against Mad Cow. I don't know if you were very familiar with how juiced he gets after a few weeks of playing.
Was not.
I respect that, so maybe not the best choice. And yeah, then you had me next in the playoffs, and you are right about something. I did beat you.
Mm-hmm.
It's on paper. You can't deny that. But I think this season you showed a lot of improvement, and what's surprising to me is I play friendlies against you all the time, and I never see you bring out Incineroar. So wherever you're getting this hidden jutsu Incineroar practice is beyond me.
That's fair. That's fair.
But you got it.
Yeah, and I definitely need more. So this was last season was my first experience using the the Swiss format, whereas you play someone 1-1, you play someone that's 2-1, you never play the same person twice. Being unfamiliar with that, getting that text from AJS saying, okay, you get to pick your spot on the bracket, navigate the bracket how you see fit. That was my first time going through that. If I can remember my thoughts when I had to pick my place, I knew if I wanted to get into D1, it wouldn't make any sense going up against a D2 player, right? So it wouldn't make sense for me to play against Salvo. It wouldn't make any sense to play against Disenchanted, and it wouldn't make any sense to go against Molotov, who was D2 at the time, because how does that prove that you should be D1? So I was like, well, I have to be the D1 player. So now you get to choose between KK Duds, Kaiser, Candy, Mad Cow, Albino Joe. And I think Albino Joe had struggled against some other D2 players. So I wanted to pick a player that was very convincingly D1, that like everyone sees this player as a D1 player. So this would be a very obvious upset if you beat them. But I didn't want to play KK or Candy just because my friendly record against them is abysmal. So I was like, all right, well, let me try Mad Cow. I've played a K roll before. Let me try to beat a K roll before, but it didn't go well for me. So that was my thought process when I picked Mad Cow round 1.
I can respect that.
I did beat Lars when I went into losers, just because I was furious at my performance playing against Mad Cow. So yeah, that was it is the way it is. I don't know if we'll have. Are we gonna run that same format this time? Whereas no, because there's gonna be multiple 3-0 winners in D1. So who knows? Who knows what the playoff has in store? It sounds like this round will be more you land where you land. Maybe it'll go by seeding. We'll see. All right, let's get back to the list. At number 9, I have Cax. He's been very fun to watch on stream. And everyone expects great things from him. Season 5 record of 3-2, Season 4 record of 3-3, playoff record of 1-2, which puts him at an overall record of 7-7. You gotta love it. You gotta love the Olimar play. And we don't get to see it a lot. I think great wins for him this season were against the Commissioner in D2. I think his 3 wins come from AJS, Ooga Booga, and Reaver. And even Reaver was surprised playing against Cax because going into this season, Cax was a Lucas main. And it seemed like he was a Lucas main with a Olimar secondary. But I think now that his connection is a lot smoother, I think he is relying on that Olimar a lot more. And it's going to catch some people off guard. So make sure you do your homework.
Now, this is
At
one of
10
the spiciest takes. I'm going to hold you up because this is one of your spiciest
Okay, hold
takes,
me up.
having Cax so high. What's Cax's record right now?
3-2.
What's his record in D1 Swiss?
In D1 Swiss.
Where we are right now. What is his record going into next week?
Oh, this is very true. His current record in D1 Swiss is 0-2, back against the wall.
Don't get me wrong.
I had completely forgotten about that upset. I had completely forgotten about that upset when he lost to Zed.
I'm sure he wants to forget about it too. So I respect you, thinking so high of him. I think very highly of him too because I've played against him for years. But spicy take of the week, we have Cax really high on this man's list.
It's 2 spots. You've got him at 11th. I've got him at 9th. So let's all right. So hold on. Let me look at your list one more time because you've got him right below Mad Cow, and you've got Mullitsor 2 spots above him. So, how frequently have you seen the Mullitsor Cax matchup?
Never.
Okay. So that'll be a hot take if those. That'll be a very interesting match if those go head to head. I don't know. Going by gameplay, he looks like a rank 9 player. I cannot. Yeah, you can't ignore the O2. But I don't see. Oh, that's tough. He's got a rough road ahead. I don't have any ammo to defend. I don't have any ammo to argue with this 0-2 record in D1 Swiss. Should he be moved down to 11th? Maybe. Go ahead. Say what you were gonna say.
I actually do have some respect for where you put him, and for the exact reason of what I said before. Of all the people I have below him, I think, and even contentious with Mad Cow, Cax has one of the higher chances, I think, to even make the playoffs regardless of his record. I think he just had a really bad night. I think we've both seen him play well enough in previous times to know that this guy is pretty good. This guy's legit, and he plays a character that very few people know what to deal with. Similar to the Steve matchup. So I think he's one of the O2s who actually has a bit of breath in him, a bit of life. But as you said, O2 hard to debate, but we'll see. I think he's the light in the dark. Who do you got next?
Next up, I've got Mullitsor at 10th, with a current season 5 record of 1-1. A little bit of history. Season 4 record of 8-2, playoff record of 2-2, which puts him at an overall 11-5. When I was scouring the VODs, I could not find and I could not remember who he lost to in the group stage besides me. In the playoffs, I think he lost to Albino Joe and Cax. That was one of the things I used when I was looking at Cax data. I was like, oh, well, Cax beat Mullitsor in the past, so he could just do it again. And during season 5, when Cax goes up against Zed's Ganondorf, I'm thinking, oh, well, Cax beat Mullitsor, who's a Ganondorf main, last season, so he should have no issues going up against him this season. But the playstyle was too different. Zed had faith in his WarioWare counter pick, and I think he had a little bit of salt from losing to you, which resulted in that tough loss. But I think Molitzor is a very confident player, which you've told me before. If he is going to secondary Sephiroth, he's going to need some more lab work. I think that we still haven't seen his Captain Falcon. We still haven't seen his Byleth, which you've told me about. So we still have a lot to see from Molitzor. Next week he goes up against Reaver.
Yeah.
Mad Cow.
No,
He goes up against Mad Cow, and he already beat Reaver. Beat Reaver? I think he beat Reaver. He goes up against Mad Cow next week. We'll see what he brings to the table. That could go either way, man. I'm not gonna put a lot of Baddy coin on that match.
To give you some extra information real quick, he lost his other game against Valkyrier when the rankings were already set, and I think he was just sticking around in that game.
Okay. All right. He didn't take it seriously. That's fine. Moving down to number 11, we have Lars. Season 5 record of 4-1. Last season during the group stage, he went 2-4, and he has a playoff record of 0-2. I think he has shown a lot of growth this season, and I think it showed in his D2 performance, beating Valkyrior, Ooga Booga, and one other. Oh, Head Reaver for sure. Or did he do that this week in Swiss? He beat Mad Cow. He beat Mad Cow this week in Swiss.
Yes, that was his big upset.
So he's got a lot of good wins under his belt. He shows a lot of promise. A lot of D1 players enjoy watching him and are just rooting for him all around because he's a heavy user in Bowser. Moving forward, he's got to go up against, what is he, 1-1? 1-0.
1-0.
He's got to go up against Duds. That would be an amazing upset if he can beat Duds. But he's got to prepare. You can't. It's difficult to prepare against Duds 8 to 10 characters. So the best chance he's got is to sharpen his own combos and get his own kill confirms. Really, really looking really sharp so that he doesn't drop any combos. Another big spicy hot take. At 12, I have the Yif Head Reaver. And this is going to show a little bit of bias, but I did look at the numbers. Season 5 record of 3-5. Previous season, a record of 1-5 in group and 1-2 in the playoffs, which puts him overall at 4-10. Not great. Like we said, a lot of heavy competition in D1. There are some matches he could have won if it weren't for a very questionable character switch. But I think at the end of the day, playing for fun is what's most important. I have him at 12th because of the eye test, because of the gameplay. I have seen Reaver at his best, or I have seen peak Yif, and I think he could keep this number 12th spot, if not improve, if he can channel peak Yif more frequently.
I also agree that the Yifening can still occur. However, a piece of note from last season that his only win in the playoffs came from someone being disqualified.
Yeah, that's an eye-opener.
I think the fully expanded Yif can be a top 10 player. I think it's a little curled up right now. That's why I'm at 15th. But I get your reasoning. I've also seen the Furry Fury, and it is not fun to fight.
This is a trait that D2 players have that I don't think that's brought up a lot, whereas playing in friendlies, right, there is very little pressure. People are working on habits, people are working on new characters, people are working on new combos. Stream matches can cause a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, which results in a lot of SDs. Yif has said in the past that he is not It is not nerves when he is playing. It's more excitement that he gets to play on stream and Baddy. That being said, 2 SDs in a stream match when the stakes are pretty high, you've got to find the source of those SDs and get it up out of there. He is not the only one. He is not the only D1 player that has SD'd on stream, of course. Because I think even in my match against Mullitsor, he had 2 SDs with Sephiroth, where he just his not the Octo Slash, but the regular up special did not quite make the Mementos stage, which really set him back. But whatever it is that's causing these SDs, it's got to stop. It's got to stop if you want to get above. If you want to get above bottom 5 in the ranking. But moving on to some more hot takes. AJS, our commissioner, at lucky number 13. Season 5 record of 3-3. Season 4 record of 1-5. Didn't make the playoffs last year. So his overall record is 4-7. I think AJS's greatest gameplay shows when he plays against D2 players, right? So during our D2 Swiss, all of his wins were very convincing. I think he got out of Swiss at 3-1. Yes, he did. His only loss being to Cax, and Cax was formerly D1. So this is where the commissioner struggles, in my opinion, when he plays other D1 players that are practicing basically daily. You know, it's 3 or 4 times a week. Most of these D1 players are in there, either in an arena or in quick play or in training, and you got to keep up. You know, that's that. I think that's all it really is. AJS is rare to SD, which I think he's got good going for him. His game sense is pretty good, whereas he is not one to switch off one of his 2 characters. He has a very good sense of knowing when to switch and when to stay. I think that showed really well in his match against Otterbotter. He lost game 1 against Sephiroth, so he switches to Toon Link and just throws boomerangs and bows and bombs out of Sephiroth's reach. So his game knowledge is there. He just has to lab more. You know, got to get that neutral game strong if you're gonna beat some of these top 10 players. That's what I put him. That's why I put him at 13th. Where did you put him in your list? You put him at.
He is dead last.
Dead last.
Here's the
and
one
I'm gonna
concern
talk
I
about.
have.
Go ahead.
I'll say this as well. I don't think I stressed this enough. He is dead last, and the person he plays against next week, and why I see him as a lock to not advance, he plays against Cax next week in the O2 round.
Okay, so this is a key opportunity to learn from your D2 Swiss bracket. You go back, you look at the VODs, you look at your habits, you look at how these different moves interact with each other. You look at the interactions, and you say, all right, so how do I turn this around? How do I win this game 2-0, or how do I win it 2-1? This is a prime opportunity to show AJS why he's not dead last in D1, and I look forward to it.
He does have a rare advantage in that he has recording of himself playing against someone this season going into Division 1 Swiss.
Yeah. So that's a lucky break for him, because everyone does not have that. I want to talk about my rank 14, which is another reason why I've got AJS as highly as I do. I put Salvo at rank 14. A season 5 record of 3-3. A season 4 record in D2 at 5-5. And a playoff record of 0-2. Overall, that puts him at 8-10. He does not have a good record when matching up against D1 players. Losing to Duds 2-0, but came down to last stock, which is pretty good. pretty good. Going up against Kaiser last season in the playoffs, 0-2, and going up against Molitor, who was D2 with him last season. I think that was 0-2 as well. I think switching to Lucas, or focusing more on Lucas as either his secondary or primary, whichever it is, I think that will help in his D1 matchups. I mean, if he gets that Luigi 0 to death more consistent, if he gets the kill confirms more consistent, he can definitely rise up. Looking back at previous VODs, I think AJS has a positive matchup, has a positive win rate against Salvo. That's why I've got him under AJS. And even in his matchup with the ranked 15th player, Ooga Booga, I think Ooga Booga has beaten Salvo in the past, but I need to look at their matchups this season if they have played against each other. Because he has to win more consistently against D2 players for his rank to rise, and then start working on, okay, how do I beat some of these D1 players? I think those are his biggest issues right now.
This season, Salvo only lost to you. He exited the playoffs, Division 2 Swiss, with a record of 3-1. He only losing to you.
Okay, now last week he went up against Duds and Mad Cow.
2 D1 players, 2 players that placed top 8 last season.
Okay, so you're saying this season he does much better against D2. Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. So now we need to see Salvo up against the D1 matchups, because he's at 0-2 right now. He's almost on his way out. So you can't rely too much on RNG to bail you out of this one. So I wish nothing but the best. Okay.
Yeah. Next week, by the way, is going to be real interesting on how we both see these players, because it's Reaver versus Salvo.
Yeah.
In their 0-2.
Yeah. I can see it. I can see Reaver losing to RNG in my mind as clear as my PlayStation update screen right now. But I hope it doesn't.
What do you hope?
I hope it doesn't come true. I hope it doesn't come to fruition. I don't want to cast or curse this. I hope for the best for both players.
If you want to keep your Baddy coin, please do not bet on this match. This is probably the worst match to bet on out of any match possible.
This is not the match you go all in on. That's what you're trying to tell the people.
100%. Save that coin.
All right. Let's talk about rank 15 Ooga Booga. Season 5 record of 4-3. Season 4 record of 1-5. Playoff record 0-2 last season. Puts him at 5-10. Ooga Booga has shown great results on Enderman. Exited D2 Swiss at 3-2. His back was against the wall, but his final win against Mai Wang crushed a lot of hearts, but got him into D1 Swiss. So I'm happy for him. I am not sure. I don't have any advice for him. Not that he's looking for advice. I don't have any advice for him on whether he should stay Enderman as he moves forward or focus more on his Croc. He's got to play Zed in the upcoming week. And Zed's a bit of a wild card himself. So I don't. That's another one where your Baddy coin is in danger. I think he should definitely see. I don't, because he's a wild card, man. Because I don't know if he's gonna pull out the Me Fighter Trump again. What's his record? His record is 1-1. He's got some room. He's got some room to play around and meme, but D1 is a dangerous place to meme. So I wish him the best. And then at 16th, I've got Zed, your previous showcase player. season 5 record of 4-3, season 4 record of 1-5 in D1. Another one who didn't make the playoffs last season. That puts him at a record of 5-8. The word D1 fraud has been thrown around a lot. He has definitely shown a lot of great games this season, and those are the ones that should take the most, that should hold the most weight. Upsetting Cax, just making it into D1. But he did lose to Alpha Mu, which is just a tough break. Someone's got to play him. He just drew the short straw. All you can hope for, man, is the meme is in his favor when he goes against Ooga Booga. Will he counterpick back to Castle Siege? We don't know. Will he gentleman's back to Mario Maker? We don't know. Zed's a hard one to bet on. But his Ganon looks solid. His Ganon does look solid, and his K-roll looks solid sometimes when he outplayed Valkyrior in the Reflect battle in that Falco versus K-roll match. What do you have to say?
I gotta say, Blaze, overall, I do respect this rankings. I see your point, but I have a big, major question as we close out this ranking.
Go ahead.
Big red flag here. You have Ooga Booga and Zed at 15th and 16th, respectively, right?
Right.
How much do you prefer the eye test and previous seasons over what's the current happening right now? Because right now you have 4 0-2 players over 2 1-1 players. I can see Cax up there, but AJS and Headweaver are flexing.
So I have Cax and AJS ranked higher than 1-1 players.
You have, let me just say this again. You have Ooga Booga at 15th, right?
Right. And Zed at 16th.
Ooga Booga and Zed are 1-1.
Right.
Cax, Salvo, Headweaver, and AJS are all 0-2.
And they are all ranked higher than Ooga Booga and Zed.
That is correct.
Okay. I can defend this. I defend this using the eye test, just judging from attendance alone, since I see Headweaver, Salvo, and Cax all practicing throughout the week, or just at least in an arena somewhere. And I do not have Ooga Booga and Zed on my radar, on my Switch friends list, playing Smash. And so I know what they're capable of, the O2s that are ranked higher than them. I know what they're capable of, and I have seen them on stream before. So I know they have the tools to earn this ranking. And I think their overall record gives them reason to have that ranking. Ooga Booga and Zed, most of their wins come from people that aren't on this list, right? The D2 players that they have left in the dust. That being said, their season 5 performance is great. I think it's because I'm rating their gameplay over Ooga Booga and Zed, whereas maybe I should have more weight on what is their current ranking, what are their current results. But that just depends on the list, you know.
Yeah, I think
just because I was looking at it for 2 seasons of results rather than just this season's results.
I respect that. Season 4 did go into some of my considerations as well. That's why I have Cax over.
Right.
You know,
you're holding the season 5 results with more weight, which I can understand.
Yes. I think looking at 11 through 16 on both of our lists, I think because of the fact that 2 of those players are even just going to get eliminated in the first place, that is going to be the most fluctuating spot. I think 1 through 5 pretty consistent. I think 6 through 10 debatable, yeah. But not a lot of space in between. 11 through 16 we'll see. I think that's going to be the real movers and shakers are going to be. But Blaze, do you have any last comments on your and my Baddy rankings going into week 5?
Here's another thing about season 5 results, right? upsets happen all the time in professional sports, casual sports. I think when you match up against a player and lose, I think there is a factor of I did lose, but that doesn't make this person better than me, right? That is a very uh common phrase up against someone who takes losses poorly. Um, but just to pull this one, we have two upsets. Well, maybe two or three upsets this last week. Um, in the Lars Mad Cow matchup, Lars won 2-0 very convincingly against Mad Cow. If Lars and Mad Cow did a 1st to 10, who, in your personal opinion, who would win that 1st to 10?
Are you talking about right now or 2 weeks from now?
Let's say right now. Let's say current Lars versus current Mad Cow in a 1st to 10.
I'd say that'd be Lars like 10 to 7.
10 to 7 Lars. Interesting. Okay.
Who would you got?
I would say the opposite. I would say not the exact opposite. I would say Mad Cow something like 10-3 or 10-4 over Lars. Simply because you can't get top 8 multiple seasons in a row. And then in the Cax Zed matchup, if they did a 1st to 10 right now, you think would win that matchup?
Cax, and that's why I definitely have him placed above Zed.
Okay. And I think just because Zed beat Cax last week, I'm not comfortable boosting his ranking considerably, right? I'm still looking at his overall performance. But if he gets multiple upsets over and over, right? Now it's no longer an upset. Now it's okay, we need to redefine our definition of Zed. We need to redefine where he's at in the ranking, which I look forward to. So that's what I'm waiting on, and why I have 0-2 players not quite at the bottom of the rankings. That's my final word.
I can respect that. As I said, we'll see. I think of all the weeks coming up, next week will be the biggest telling one, I think, for the entire league.
Oh yeah.
Week 3 of Division 1 Swiss will just be kind of a cleanup week. But we'll see. Blaze, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It sounded like you're about to say something. You got anything else?
I was gonna shout out the D2 players that are currently in an elimination bracket right now. I was gonna say we could do a D2 list when they have their. I think they plan on having grand finals on stream. So after their grand finals, and we have all of those games set in stone, set in the recordings, I would like to take a look at those VODs and do another ranking for them because they deserve it, man. They worked hard.
They have worked hard.
They get a ranking list.
Current shout outs to Tuna Sub and Huckletune, whom after looking at it are doing pretty well in their elimination bracket, and Valkyrier, I think he pulled an upset against Otterbotter as well.
Yeah.
So kudos.
A lot of people have got good results in that elimination bracket. That's one of those situations where attendance is half the battle. All you have to do is show up and you can move forward.
All right. Well, hey, again, thanks for showing up. I am going to post both of these before I post this video. Both of these lists will be on the Baddy Smash chat. If you want to know the reasoning. Video went on a little bit long, but I really enjoyed talking to you about these rankings, Blaze.
Yeah, this was a blast.
Alrighty. Until next time, you think I'm wrong? Come and debate me. But this has been a Baddy Smash Baddy Rankings. This is Chai.
And this is Blaze.
Peace.